I'd just like to remind you that in 1967, Anne Bancroft played a 40-year-old Mrs. Robinson at the age of 35 and looked like this. Dustin Hoffman, at the age of 29, played a 20-year-old and looked like this. Hello, darkness, my old friend. We have to talk about The Graduate because Benjamin Braddock is an actual certified mess. This is Benjamin Braddock. He's 20, turning 21 this summer. Just graduated from college. Has no idea what he wants to do with his life, and he's like very nervous about not having any sense of direction. His parents throw him a huge party when he gets back, but it's mostly their friends, and that's his dad, Mr. Braddock, also known as Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World. He doesn't really want to socialize or talk. He mostly just wants to sit like this and think. So Mrs. Robinson is the wife of his father's law partner. Now eventually she gets him to drive her home, which he doesn't want to do. Then she lures him into the house, lures him upstairs, and lures him into the bedroom, at which time he lets her know, Miss Robinson, I'm not on that type time with you. I'm not trying to seduce you. Would you like me to seduce you? Benjamin is dopey, but he is trying to leave until she asks him to bring her purse from downstairs on his way out, at which time she says, if you ever want some of this, just let me know. He eventually does let her know, and he hits her up to meet up at a hotel, and he is very nervous, and he's about 2 seconds from not going through with it until she asks him if it's because he's inadequate. That man adequately knocked her box out the frame enough that he continued to knock her box out the frame for the majority of the summer. And he be using the hell out they pool. One particular night, she's trying to share a little bit more about herself with him because he said he don't really know nothing about her. And she tells him that the only reason that her and her husband really got married was because she got pregnant 20 years ago with their daughter. And Ben decides he want to make a joke about sleeping with her daughter. And she's like, you better not ever talk to my daughter. You better not ever in your life talk to my daughter. And he like, I'm just playing, girl. I'm not finna do it. Well, of course, Mr. Robinson has no idea that they're sleeping together. And Benjamin's parents have no idea that they're sleeping together. And they all want Benjamin to ask Elaine out. That's the Robinson's daughter. So he really has no reason to decline, and Mrs. Robinson really has no reason to say no, even though she is not happy at all. Gosh, she's beautiful. Benjamin agrees to take Elaine out, but he tries to make it a horrible date. So first he drives horribly. Then he takes Elaine to a strip club, and they sit right in the front, and he is so rude to her that Elaine basically ends up crying and runs out the door. He feels bad, and so his way of apologizing to Elaine is to go outside, say I'm sorry, and kiss her. And wouldn't you know it, everything is fine. So they go to this drive-in burger place, and they both start talking about how they have no idea what they want to do with their lives, and they have that in common. And so they bond over that, and he kind of realizes he actually kind of likes Elaine. So the date is going well, so they decide to go to a hotel to get drinks. When they get to the hotel, they start calling him Mr. Gladstone, which is his affair name. Elaine figures out he's having an affair with somebody, which is why they know him by this fake name. And so he tells her, yeah, I was kind of sleeping with this married woman, but I'm not anymore, and I'm done doing that. Okay. And they're really cute and age appropriate, so this should be fine. Mrs. Robinson is not fine. She is actually distraught. And she tells him that if you don't stop seeing Elaine, I'm going to tell her that we begging. Benjamin is 21 and defiant. And honestly, he didn't ever really want Miss Robinson to begin with. She was fun to do it with. But he ain't like her. He likes Elaine. So his bright idea is to run up there and tell Elaine, yep, I was sleeping with your mama. Thinking that she's going to be happy that he was honest. She's not. She's like, get out. So he leaves. And she goes back to her school, UC Berkeley. He follows her back there to try to talk to her. But she had started seeing a med student named Carl, so she is not interested in talking to Ben. But he persists and persists until finally he has a conversation with her where he finds out that her mom told them that he forced himself on her. And he's like, no, it was not force. Your mama wanted me real bad. So So she slowly start liking him again. They start kicking in. He following her to class. They going and eating together, having little cute moments or whatever. Until one day, he comes to see her. Mr. Robinson is there. Not only does he tell Ben that he and his wife are getting a divorce, but he basically says, you out your flat flipping mind if you think you finna date my daughter. I don't care what happened with you and my wife. You slept with my wife. Why would you think you can also sleep with my daughter? You are out of your mind. So he removes Elaine from UC Berkeley so that she can marry Carl, the man student. So now Benjamin is trying to figure out where she is because he got to talk to her. He got to find her. So he drives home to Pasadena and tries to break into the house looking for Elaine because he thinks that Elaine is there. Mrs. Robinson sees him, calls the police and says, baby, she's getting married. And we're not telling you where, we're not telling you when, but she's getting married and you're never going to stop it. Bye-bye. So he gets back in the car and drives back over to Berkeley so he can talk to a couple people there. After doing some super sleuthing, he finds out that the wedding is in Santa Barbara that day. So he's back in the car driving another 300 miles to get to Santa Barbara. He's almost there, runs out of gas. So he just got to run to the church at this point. So he goes running, and he runs to the front of the church, but it's locked. So then he has to run up the side stairs. He gets up top just in time to see them kiss. Oh no. So he starts screaming, Elaine! 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 Mrs. Robinson is so pleased to see him so heartbroken. And everybody is very upset. But Elaine is stuck. After watching him bang on that glass for about 2 minutes saying her name, Ben! So Ben fights past her dad. He fights her supposed new husband. He fights a whole church of people. Elaine also gets slapped by her mama. Then they use a cross to lock everybody inside the church. And they go running off, giddy and happy as they can be. And Benjamin Carr don't have no gas, so they got to get on the bus. Neither of them have a job. Both their parents are probably going to be pretty pissed off and aren't going to help them out. And they have no idea what they're going to do with their lives. Young love at its finest. Yay! And the best part of it, all of this is accompanied by the music of Simon and Garfunkel. Did you ever think that the sounds of silence could be sexy? They did. They did.